All right, guys. Today we are talking about deprivation of rights under the mask or color of law. And this is how the United States is reverting back to the pre-civil rights era. Now, this is being done by the reversal of Brown versus Board of Education. They're not doing it outright, but it's being done with the dismantling of the Department of Education. Then we've got the repeal of the Voters' Right Act of 1965. They're not doing it outright. They're not attacking that outright, but it's being dismantled. Then we've got the repeal of the Voters with Disabilities Act. That is not being attacked outright, but is being attacked. The repeal of affirmative action via the repeal of DEI initiatives. That is being attacked outright. Okay? It's being attacked outright. Now, Brown v. Board of Education. That is directly linked to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because it was a landmark Supreme Court case that ruled racial segregation in schools is unconstitutional. And that paved the way for the concept of equal access to education for all races, which is the core tenet of DEI initiatives today. And by striking down that separate but equal doctrine, that case laid the foundation for promoting diversity and equity within the educational system. When you look at a job posting, they are looking for your KSACs, your knowledge, skills, abilities, and capabilities. When you look at a job application, once they get past your demographical information, they are looking for your knowledge first. What is your educational background? Your skills. Hey, what can you do? Your abilities. What can you do in, the now? Your capabilities. How do you tie it all together? And what can you do in the future? Now, key points of Brown v. Board of Education is the primary goal of the case was to dismantle basically racial segregations in schools. That's what the primary, purpose of it was. And basically, when you dismantle that, because that aligns directly with the principle of ensuring equitable access to education regardless of race or color. And by establishing a precedent for inclusion, they declared separate but equal is at its core unequal. And that ruling set the precedent for challenging discriminatory practices across all aspects of society, including the workplace, which is a key aspect of DEI efforts. Okay? Now, how does that, impact the educational policy? That Brown decision significantly influenced educational policies that were aimed at creating diverse and inclusive learning environments, leading to the initiatives promoting integration and addressing systematic inequalities. And that is going to make much more sense later on. Okay? The myth of the merit-based system, because that is what is being touted as the reason for the dismantling of affirmative action or DEI initiatives. Okay? The facts do not lie. People lie about the facts. And history has already shown us that a merit-based system is nothing more than a myth. Nothing more than a myth. And the myth of the merit-based system of equality in the U.S. refers directly to the false belief that success in America is solely based on individual merit and hard work. They ignore the historical and ongoing systematic barriers to opportunity faced by marginalized, aka the populations covered by DEI, due to discrimination based particularly on race, class, your socioeconomic class, gender. Ruling truly a meritocratic system is impossible to practice, okay? And the key points about this myth, number one, is rooted in history. America has a long, well-documented history of racial segregation, discrimination in education, employment, and housing, which creates unequal starting lines for different groups, making quote-unquote merit not a level playing field. Do you really think children who have to cross through 3 metal detectors before they get to the first bathroom get the same quality of education as those students, those Nepo babies who are attending private schools, probably on vouchers, okay, up there in Martha's Vineyard? I hardly think so. That's why they're pushing the voucher system. And those who truly need the vouchers will never be able to obtain the vouchers. Okay? Next, we're going to talk about them systematic barriers. Once again, factors like education, healthcare, neighborhoods, they're often significant depending on socioeconomic backgrounds. Okay? And that impacts an individual's ability to achieve success regardless of their talent or effort. And how does that impact, the perception? Believing in a merit-based system will, there is no can, it will lead to blaming individuals for their lack of success rather than addressing the systematic issues that hinder upward mobility. Example, just earlier this month, we had about 37, maybe more, Black senior enlisted Army engineers who were not recruited because of their race. Now, every year up until Mr. Trump took office and rolled back DEI, these highly trained and skilled soldiers were sought after. They were a hot commodity because of their knowledge, skills, abilities, and capabilities, and the Army Corps of Engineers wanted them. They were hot. I mean, hotter than Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tickets. They were hot. Now they're not. They were not recruited. The event did not happen, and it was solely because they were Black. It was not because they were not qualified. The United States Army is the best. They are the top trained Army in the world. And I know because I'm a U.S. Army combat vet and I had the honor and privilege of serving with 20th Engineering Brigade, 37th Engineering Battalion as part of Operation Enduring Freedom, okay? And I'm a desk jockey, okay? I'm admin. I had the honor of serving with them engineers, and they are a beast. I mean, they are beasts at what they do. I was blown away. Now, we're looking at that Voter Rights Act of 1965, and my source is the National Archives. We're going to start off with Section 2, where it says no, not some, not few, not, 5 or 6. It says no voting qualification or prerequisite to voting shall be imposed or applied by any state or political subdivision. By any state, the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independents, the Liberals, no political subdivision to deny or abridge the right of any citizen. And this is where the question comes in with the anchor babies, because they were born here in the U.S., which means they are natural born citizens according to the Constitution. If they are not natural born citizens, then Italian American babies born are not natural born citizens. Asian Pacific babies born are not natural born citizens. African American babies are not natural born citizens, okay? If that is the case, they are natural born citizens, despite the fact that their parents and relatives may not be. They are. They have a U.S. issued birth certificate. They are U.S. citizens, like it or not. And you cannot disqualify them based on their race or color. You can't, okay? Section 11, subsection A. No person acting under the color of law shall fail or refuse to permit any person who is entitled to vote. Going back to Section 2, if you are a natural born citizen or a naturalized citizen, you are entitled to vote. If you are an ex-offender and your civil liberties have been restored, you are eligible to vote. Okay? Doesn't matter. Now, under any provision or act, okay, doesn't matter what executive order you come up with, doesn't matter what type of legislation you try to sneak in under the belt, okay? The Voter Rights Act of 1965 is what it is. Next, we're getting down to tabulating and counting and recording such persons' vote. Right now in North Carolina, there is a court case going on to toss out 60,000 votes. Yet, they, without blinking an eye, accepted the ballots of deceased people. And they never said how long them people had been deceased. Okay, because I'm pretty sure if they were deceased on election day, they didn't cast a vote. Now, they may have mailed in an absentee vote. They might have, but I do not believe all of them did. Nope, not for 1 second. Next, we're going to subsection B. No person, not some, not a few, not this one, not that one. No person acting under the color of law or otherwise shall intimidate, threaten, coerce, attempt to intimidate, threaten, or coerce any person for voting or attempting to vote, okay? Nor can they intimidate, threaten, coerce, or attempt to intimidate, threaten, or coerce any person for urging or aiding a person to vote. Okay, Rock the Vote campaign right now, they are attempting to make it illegal for third parties to conduct registered to vote drives and using the official registered to vote forms. That is what they're trying to do now. Okay? They are trying to make it illegal for people to charter buses, vans, to carpool, to send Ubers, to pick up people who would not otherwise be able to make it to the polling stations. They're trying to make it illegal, and that is in direct violation of the Voter Rights Act of 1965. Let's move it on to Section 12A. Whoever shall, not would, could, may, intended, on purpose, accidentally, no, shall deprive or attempt to deprive any person of any right secured by sections 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, or violate sections 11A or B shall be fined no more than $5,000, imprisoned for more than 5 years, or a combination of both. Now, be mindful, our current President of the United States is a 34 convicted felon, okay? Do you really think he give a rat's ass about this? Okay? He got 34 convictions and he is still president, and they are still asking if you have a felony, if you want to take and get food stamps. They're still asking if you have a felony, if you're trying to get housing. And our president has 34 felony convictions. So, this is how dismantling DEI and Department of Education is directly linked to the campaign to remove people of color, women, and that includes white women, because they'd rather give it to a black man than a white woman any day, and history has showed that that's not LaWanda's opinion. That is history. That is etched in history. White women. We're talking about the disabled. We got the ex-offenders, and we got others from all other, groups from exercising their right to vote. Because if the majority of the population is forbidden to elect representatives in legislature, that means that the elected officials who will represent the best interests of those populations will not be elected. If the population covered by DEI, including women, yes, you, white women too, are no longer protected in the areas which provide education and assistance, then those populations will no longer have the knowledge, skills, abilities, and capabilities to effectively stand up for, to effectively fight for, to effectively demand to be treated and compensated for their quote-unquote merit-based entitlements, okay? That boils down to old white men, inferior white men, unqualified white men, and scared white men. They will no longer have the U.S. in a chokehold if DEI, aka affirmative action, is taken back like it should be. They won't have the U.S. in a chokehold like they do now. So, the deprivation of rights under the mask or color of law is how the U.S. is reverting to the pre-civil rights era in 2025, okay? They're doing this with the reversal of Brown versus Board of Education by the dismantling of the Department of Education. They're doing this by the repeal of the Voters' Right Act without coming right out and attacking that act. They're doing this with the repeal of the Voters with Disabilities Act without specifically naming that act. They're doing this with the repeal of affirmative action via the repeal of DEI incentives. This is once again when a corporate entity takes over a mom and pop, a home-based, a not so big entity, and they gut it, and then they liquidate it. We are being gutted. Our rights are being gutted. History is being gutted. And then it's going to be liquidated because our president is not a politician. He is a businessman. And I must say, he is not a very good one because Trump University, you notice you don't see it no more. You notice that? It's gone. It's been gone. Most people don't even know it existed. Okay? He wasn't good at it at all. DEI, remember, he's the one that said grab him in the pussy. And it was public, okay? We're talking about undocumented. Every wife he had has been undocumented. His babies are anchor babies, okay? I don't think the current Mrs. Trump even has a green card. She might. But that's just my personal opinion. And we know what opinions are like. Because everyone has one, and normally they blow out stuff that don't smell good. Okay? Look at history. He can't vote. We don't know if his civil liberties have been restored. He has 34 felony convictions. Can I get somebody to look and see if his civil liberties have been restored and if he actually voted, because if he voted and his civil liberties have not been restored, then he will have 35 felonies. Okay? Let's get it. And I'm going to end with grab him in the pussy, since that is one of the things he will forever be famous for. He does not respect women. Women are here to simply serve his urges, okay? He doesn't care. You notice he ain't married, not nay U.S. citizen, okay? Not one. Look at it. And this is who was placed in office. I didn't vote for him. Did not, But I'm not a hater either. I'm just pointing out that the facts don't lie. People lie about the facts, and you can check my facts at any point in time because I got them from the National Archives. All right. The next episode will deal with the 37 black engineers who were not recruited because they were black. All right.